Hey, welcome. We're back at Blue Mountain Lake, and we're going to paint the trails. We have some nice effects from the sun, kind of filtering through the trees. Originally, I was going to do landscape format, but looking at this view through the camera, I'm thinking a portrait format would be better. We have our standard palette with some adjustments: transparent orange oxide, titanium white, Mars black, ultramarine blue, dioxazine purple, yellow ochre, burnt sienna, cadmium yellow, cadmium red. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a quick tone. This brush is a little dirty, but that's okay. We're going to get a mixture of kind of brown remnant and orange covering most of the canvas. Okay, we'll go ahead and spray this canvas so we can move that paint around a little bit more. And I'm going to tilt my camera down so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. All right. We're working on acrylics, mostly thick-bodied acrylics from Golden, some from Liquitex. All right. Gonna mark out some of the major shapes here, some of the lighter areas. Okay, and we're gonna grab a bright, and we're gonna take our black and a little bit of dioxazine purple, a little bit of yellow ochre, a little bit more yellow ochre, a little bit of blue, a little bit of black, and we're gonna map out some of the bigger shadow patterns. A lot of these bright trees here are going to be the darkest amongst the darkest shapes in the bunch. A bit of our red, a little bit of our cad red and transparent orange oxide, a little bit of our purple. And we'll start using that along with just a little bit of our burnt sienna and then a little bit of black, a little bit of yellow ochre. There we go. Start using this for a little bit more orange. Our tree masses elsewhere, which is going to be quite a few. mix up kind of a darker desaturated green, a little bit of blue, a little bit of yellow, cad yellow, a little bit of yellow ochre, a little bit of black, a little bit of orange, a little bit more blue. I want a decent puddle here for this. A little bit of yellow, a little bit of blue, blue, a little bit of yellow. There we go. When I squint my eyes, it's kind of close to the general average hue and value amongst most of the shapes on the ground where there's moss. Yeah, we're gonna get a little darker version of that. And slightly more saturated version of that. We've arrived at the ugly phase pretty early here. Oh boy. All right. It's tough. We're trying to simplify a pretty complicated scene, and we're trying to do it in less than 20 or 30 minutes here. So, all right, we're gonna get a mixture of our Mars black and dioxazine purple and a little bit of yellow ochre. And a little bit more purple. It's gonna be like a grayish purple that we're gonna use. To suggest some of the mud and leafy areas with the really worn down foliage and maybe some of the shadow patterns on the shadow sides of some of these trees. Without dark, there'll be no light, and we need to suggest some of the shadows that we see here. Otherwise, the light filtering through and the dappled light won't be as effective. Let's come forward just a little bit. It's a little bit and there. Painted these trails quite often, and it's always a little overwhelming, but tend to like how the paintings come out. And more of this. A bit purple for some of these fallen branches and trees that kind of accentuate the steep hill here. Shadow side. Alrighty. Now, I think we'll go ahead and punch in using a different brush. Some of these lighter colors we're going to use. In some instances, yellow, ochre, and white. And in other instances, dioxazine purple and white. In other instances, some orange and white. So we're going to get a mixture of hues that are contributing to the interpretation here of these light effects. But we're just starting with this. There we go. Purple with some of that yellow ochre in there, but purple and white. And it's not going to be very uniform, but we're going to see instances of the light showing up a little bit of a cooler sense to it. And definitely when it's hitting some of these trees. Okay. Now, I'm going to switch brushes, similar size brush. And we're going to get some of those lighter greens. So a little bit of yellow, a little bit of blue, quite a bit of white. Kind of a yellowish green. A little kind of hump here. It's catching some light, and where the grass is and the light's raking across, we're going to see quite a bit of green. Got a different version of this green instead of it's going to being dominated by cad yellow. There'll be a little bit of yellow ochre and still quite a bit of white. Put that down. I'm going to work in some finer suggestions of some of the shadows, a mixture of Mars black, dioxazine purple, blue, and a little bit of orange. Kind of gray it out a little bit of burnt sienna, warm it up a little bit more. And we just want to make sure that we're honoring the fact that we have kind of varied shadow patterns here. Maybe a little bit more of a purpley mix of sienna, suggesting some of the shadow areas created by the foliage that's on the ground, dried foliage everywhere. All right, now back to some of the lighter colors. We're gonna mix up a little bit of a lighter ochre with some burnt sienna in it. And quite a bit of white here in the bottom right hand corner. And we'll use this in a couple areas. We have some evergreens catching some light in a couple of spots. We have some sun. Sunlight raking across and then even up and over. Change to our ochre. Go back through with some darker, cooler greens. And we're probably gonna have to wrap up early. Maybe we'll leave this little painting for another similar day, weather day. We just have some stuff we need to do. We'll go ahead and get some of this cooler green in a couple of areas. Yellow, blue. And we'll go and use the same brush, mix up some more of our lightest, brightest, yellowest green. All right, probably gonna have to stop and head on back. Before I do that, I do want to get a little bit of an indication of the sky color. I'm going to get a little bit of my blue into this purpley mix here, a little bit of my white. A little more white. Kind of have like a really desaturated purpley gray. Just want to get some indication of these sky holes here before we wrap up. And this little sketch is by no means even close to being complete. We do have some light coming off of what might be water here. Oops, went a little too far with that one. It's okay. All right. Quick touches, reinforcing some of the darker shadow patterns before we wrap up. I have some work to do, so I need to take a break from this. A little bit of a late night last night. Went to the Phillies game. Didn't get home until after midnight. It was a lot of fun, but I just have some stuff I need to tend to today, so I won't be able to paint as much as I normally would. But I think we got a good and decent kind of likeness of the scene here. I'll probably just leave it there for now. So a nice little painting of the pathway here behind Blue Mountain Lake. And appreciate you checking out my work. If you're inclined to do so, please like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. That'll help me get the word out about the work that I'm doing and sharing. So others might have an easier time being creative. Also, check out my latest work at my website, thomasmichaelneiman.com. And we'll have to wrap there. Thanks again. See you again soon. All right, there you go. Lots of refinement needed on this, but got the general gist of the scene we're looking at here. Thanks for checking out my work. Stay well. Hope to see you again soon.